Quinn, speak to me, cried Fred, standing beside his fiancée in the ICU of the Roosevelt Hospital. She's still very weak, observed Dr. Crawford. Quinn just smiled at Fred through her bandages. We stopped the bleeding. She's on some pretty heavy pain meds for now. We will need to do some tests to see how her memory and motor skills are, though. If she's smiling at you, that means she recognizes you, and that's a good sign. Bae, stammered Quinn. Bae. What is it, sweetheart? Asked Fred. Babies, she managed before her eyes rolled shut again. Fred understood. They're fine, Quinn. All 3 of them are at home at the penthouse with Nora. We'll have you moved back home as soon as we can. Fred bent to kiss Quinn on the forehead, then squeezed her hand before leaving the ICU room, followed closely by Dr. Crawford. I know you're doing all you can, said Fred. Dr. Crawford said, We're lucky. Quinn is a strong woman, though she is likely to be out of commission for a bit until we are certain that she is back to herself. You know as well as I do that she is not going to like having to slow down and let other people take care of her. That's certainly true, agreed Fred. I was thinking that once she is stabilized, we can have an ambulance take her back to my penthouse to convalesce. You know, I can afford round-the-clock care. I thought as much, said the older doctor. I was more worried about you right now, Fred. How are you holding up? Obviously, this is stressful, Fred admitted. But there is one thing you folks could help me with. Completely up to you, of course. Name it, obliged Dr. Crawford. I don't know if you've heard about this new thing that my ex-wife is doing online. Oh yeah, the Queen Bee. My daughters have been watching the hell out of that channel. Great, continued Fred. I'm trying to have my lawyers shut that down. Not only did Beatrice have a prenuptial agreement that came with an ironclad NDA, but she's saying things that aren't in any way true. Oh? Asked the doctor. I wouldn't mind her saying whatever she's going to say about me. Not everyone will automatically believe that stuff. But I do have a problem with what she's saying about Quinn, calling her a homewrecker, saying that she got fired from the hospital. She was not dismissed for any reason directly resulting from her work at Roosevelt Hospital. You know that. Well, spat Fred, that's what Beatrice said on her channel, which has now had somewhere around 17 million views. It was at 60 this morning, corrected the doctor. Could you have the hospital release a statement saying what you just said? 60 million people is a lot, you know. She doesn't deserve to be dragged through the mud like this, Fred explained. I can see what our director of communications has to say about it, answered Dr. Crawford. We don't usually issue statements about employment matters, but you're one of our top donors, and this is not a typical situation by any stretch. It involves the reputation of the hospital also. Thank you, Dr. Crawford, Fred said, and really meant it. I didn't plan to catch all of you up in all of this drama. I'm sure you didn't, said the doctor. I have to get back home now, said Fred. I have to explain to the children what has happened to their mother. This will be hard. I had their nanny tell them that their mom was on an urgent business trip. But now, I will need to tell them the truth, and they will be upset about that. Plus, also upset about the lie. Kids are pretty resilient, observed Dr. Crawford. I think they will be more understanding than you're giving them credit for. And I know you'll handle all of it as compassionately as you can. I'll certainly try, said Fred. I've had to learn how to be a dad in 3 short years, and now I've gone from just Jake to all 3 of them. Other people had a lot more time before they had to deal with these kinds of things. I'm doing my best, and I hope it's good enough. That's all any of us can do, answered the doctor. It's the parents who never ask themselves that question, who are usually the ones who need that kind of self-reflection the most. I'm betting you'll do just great. Later in the evening, Fred returned to his penthouse home after the children had been put to bed. He held a meeting in the living room with himself, Nora the nanny, Max the bodyguard, a couple of his security workers, the maid, and Chef Julian. "Thank you all for taking the time," said Fred. "As you know, we have a situation on our hands. Quinn is still in serious condition at the hospital, but at least she woke up today and recognized me. She will need to remain in the hospital while they complete a battery of neurological tests to see whether her motor skills and mind have been affected. At the very least, she has a very serious concussion and will need to rest for several weeks." The faces of the staff filled with concern as Fred continued. "When we can, we will be transferring Quinn to the medical suite upstairs, where we will need round-the-clock security and medical care." Fred turned to Nora. "Now, I asked you to tell the children that their mother was on a trip. Obviously, I will need to tell them the truth now. I will do that when they wake up tomorrow morning. I'll call the school and keep them home for the day." As Fred finished, he looked up to see little Sammy Murphy sitting on the stairs, eavesdropping. How much had the girl heard? She quickly turned and ran back up the stairs into her room and shut the door behind her. Fred took to the stairs and parked himself outside of Sammy's room. "Sammy," he called. "Come in," said Sammy, crying. It made Fred's heart shatter to hear the little girl crying. He opened the door and found her lying face down on her princess bed, sobbing quietly into her pillows. "Sweetie," he began, "how much did you hear?" "Mommy's in the hospital. She got hurt real bad." "That's right," said Fred. "I'm so sorry. I wanted to tell the three of you tomorrow morning, all at the same time. I'm still going to do that, okay?" "Okay," said Sammy. "But why did you lie, Papa Fred? She was never on a work trip, was she?" "No," he admitted sheepishly. "She met with a car accident, a really bad one. We weren't sure if she was going to live. I needed to come up with some kind of explanation that didn't worry you kids. There were a few hours there where we weren't sure she'd make it. But Sammy, she did. Your mother will live. She got through. She will need rest for a long time, and we will be taking care of her here at home," Fred said, stroking the girl's hair. "I'm sorry I lied to you. I was scared, and I didn't want you to be scared too." "Is that what's called a white lie?" asked Sammy, turning her tear-streaked face toward Fred. "Something like that, yes." "Where have you heard of a white lie?" he asked. "That's something the counselor talked about at school today." "The counselor? Why did you have to go see the counselor?" "The other kids were talking about us, about things that Jake's mom was saying on TV." "What were the other kids saying?" asked Fred, worried about the answer.
Hi, Quinn here, and if you're wondering what happens next, click on the link in the description to listen to the full audio series. You can also watch the next episode here in the playlist.